Now we're going to bring in Rich Wistaki. He is a retired Naperville PD and detective. He now runs a cyber security, cyber training. He's president of Be Sure Cyber Training. And we have a very disturbing story where Rich is going to give us a little perspective on. It happens when a Southwest suburban man, he's been charged with soliciting pornographic videos from a 13-year-old girl who lived in Britain. And she was eventually found by her mother in her bedroom, and she hung herself with a charging cord to her smartwatch. And that girl later died a few short days later. That the person in this case is 27-year-old Cameron Zyle Johnson of Plano, Illinois, which is a suburb here. And again, he's been charged in this cyber death. So we want to bring in Rich a little bit to talk about some of the things that parents should be talking to about their kids to prevent something like this from happening. Thanks so much for your time, Rich.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So where do you want to start with this case? This little girl, 13-year-old, she was using an app called WhatsApp to communicate with this grown man who was in the town of Plano. So how should parents be thinking about something like this? Obviously, this is a worst case scenario where a 27-year-old is having these interactions with a 13-year-old girl. How do these interactions even start from what you've seen in your years covering cases like this?
So let's start out with some stats here. So according to the National Center of Missing Exploited Children, one internet predator can have up to 250 victims in their lifetime. So I'm sure that's not his only victim. So we need to be doing forensics on his machines and his accounts and who else he's talking to. So there's two reasons for that, okay? The first reason why predators are so successful is that parents suffer from a deadly disease that sets their children up for failure called the NMK syndrome. That stands for not my kid. Do you know we teach about 300,000, my team and I teach about 300,000 students. We taught in 80 schools across the country last year. Out of those 300,000 students, we had 40 kids come up to us after the presentation saying, that's happening to me and I don't know what to do. So it's the parents that are not watching their kids. And my heart goes out to this tragic loss. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say anything about that. But the problem is that parents are unwilling to have a technology talk with their kids. The second reason why that stat is so high is because some law enforcement officers who are going to take a police report about sexting, sextortion, or cyberbullying have never been trained on how to take a cybercrime report. So then they make up excuses why they can't take the report. Like, oh, just report it to the social network, they'll take care of everything. Or, lady, if you want me to take this report, I'm going to arrest your daughter for taking the pictures. You still want the report? And these are the two major things why this is allowed to happen and predators flourish, okay? So it all starts with, let me tell you what kids are doing behind their parents' backs. So when I teach middle school, right, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, how old are they? They're like 11 and 12 years old, right? Maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. And when I'm teaching these kids, I say, all right, how many guys got a Snapchat? Yeah. How many guys got an Instagram? Yeah. How many guys got a WhatsApp? Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. How could you be in there? You got to be 13 in order to be in there. How could you be in there? Oh, you lied about your age, didn't you? Now, let's face it. Our kids are not the best mathematicians in the world, right? I blame core math, but that's besides the point. So what happens is that I ask the kids, how many of you whined and whined and whined until your parents gave in and let you have a WhatsApp, a Snapchat, or a TikTok? I'll get 10 kids raising their hands. I'll say, ask the next question. How many of you did it behind your parents' back? You didn't care what they said. 80% raised their hand. Okay? So that means you decided this was your thought process. Why can't I have a WhatsApp or a TikTok? I'm not going to do anything wrong. I'm not going to talk to a predator. I know better. My older brother and sister have it. Why can't I have it? Everybody in school has it. Why can't I have it? It's not fair. I'm just going to do it. So they go on TikTok or Snapchat, whatever, WhatsApp. They put their name in. They put their email in. They put their phone number in. Oh, crap. It's asking for my date of birth. Oh, I can't get this wrong. All right, let's see. I was born in 2014. do I go up with my date of birth to be 13 or do I go down with my date of birth to be 13? I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to put in 2000. That'll get me in. So I asked the question, how many of you put in 2000 because you didn't want to figure out the math? 75% raised their hand. So how old are they today? 25. So guys like this, when our students, when our kids are not doing this with parent permission, they're putting their date of birth of 2000 because they don't want to figure out the math, or they're even putting their parents' date of birth of getting in. So when they do that, they're 25 years old. Who's going to come talk to them? Adults, because they're 25. Who's going to send them naked pictures? Adults, because they're 25. Who's going to ask your 12-year-old daughter for her naked picture? Adults, because she's 25. Okay? So as internet crimes against children detectives, we know that it's not only one. Once we get done with the forensics on this guy's devices, he's going to have numerous victims that he's been sextorting. So we have to understand it starts with the parents. The things that the parents do, especially when you allow your child to charge their devices in their rooms at night, you're actually inviting that predator into your house and saying, yeah, she's down the hallway on the left, have fun. That's what you're doing as a parent. When you allow your children to charge their devices in their rooms at night, and it starts with that.
So step one is definitely not letting your kids have those chargers, charge their devices in their rooms at night. Are there maybe some signs that parents should be looking out for? Because sometimes teens shut down and they don't really want to have those conversations where parents can tell something isn't quite right here.
Yeah, so two things I want to tell you about. So when I talk to parents and kids, here's the ground rules. Your kids own nothing until you're 18. I don't care if they cut grass all summer, babysat all winter, and they bought that new iPhone 16 with their own money. They don't own it. According to Illinois law and laws all over the state, except for one state, Oregon, they have no right to privacy on that cell phone. The parents are not only responsible for their food, clothing, shelter, and education, they are responsible for that technology, and they should go in there anytime they want. The big red flag is this. When you go in to look in your kid's phone and they change the passcode, something's wrong. Why did they change the passcode? The parent has to ask them. Oh, for privacy? I think not. That's because they're having some type of relationship that the parents wouldn't approve of. Let me explain to you what that technology talk should look like, okay? The technology talk should be this. Look, I went to this presentation the other day. I had no idea what was going on social media. Hi, Casey. I had no idea what was happening on their social media or the gaming platforms. Look, we know we threatened you before. If you do this, if you do that, I'm going to do this to you. I want you to take that and throw it out the window. If anybody ever tries to make you feel bad about yourself, anybody tries to get you to do something you know you shouldn't be doing, like sextortion or suicide, you need to come to us. So we developed a program called the Golden Ticket Protocol that we tell parents about. What this Golden Ticket Protocol says that when you're in danger, you need to come to us because we're responsible for you. And we're going to give you, check this out, the Golden Ticket magnet for the refrigerator. You put the Golden Ticket magnet on your refrigerator, and that kid sees that every single day. That they know whenever they're in trouble or in crisis, all they got to do is swipe the magnet and say, Mom and Dad, I got to talk to you. And there will be no consequences for whatever they're going to talk about. Those are the rules. And you would be surprised with this effort how many kids go to their parents because they're afraid of the consequences if they go to their parent. We have to train our parents and train our students how to have good technology talks and not threaten them with their technology because your kids will never go to you if you threaten them with their technology.
Rich, on the other side of this, how do, I guess, like people like the suspect in this case, Cameron, how do they seek out, I guess, underage kids for some of these things that they're doing? Are there certain characteristics that put some kids at risk more than others?
Yes. The two red flags that I give my students, and it usually starts out, the number one predator site in the world right now, you guys, is Roblox. Roblox is the largest game out there, the biggest game out there, and when they opened up chat between adults and children, that's when bad stuff started to happen. There are more predators on Roblox than any other gaming platform out there. So here's what happens. Predators are very, very patient. They will play with your kid for 2 or 3 months as another 11 or 12-year-old. And then what happens is your first red flag when I show my kids, if someone tries to take you off your gaming platform to go to private chat, they are not who you think they are. Because if you had something to say to me, why not say it on the game? Why do I got to go to private chat? Here's why. The National Center of Missing and Exploited Children has a program called the CyberTip program. All of the gaming platforms, cloud services, except for Apple, and games and apps, they all report one of two things to the National Center. Number one, any type of grooming chat between adults and children, that AI program will pick it up, and the TOS, the Terms of Service team, will read it. If it's a violation, they'll send it to the National Center. Or if it's CSAM, child sex abuse material or child pornography, if they're trading child pornography, it'll flag it, they'll read it, and they'll send it to National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. Predators know we do this. So if they can take your child off of the gaming platform to go to a place like WhatsApp, Snapchat, where the chat, or Discord, where the chat disappears or parents don't know about it, they got your kid. The second thing that happens, here's the second red flag. Once they take you off to the gaming platform to private chat, then they will do this to you. Hey, we've been friends so long. Do you want to see what I really look like? And your kid says, I don't care. So then they'll send 2 or 3 pictures of themselves naked to the victim. Well, that's not really them. Remember, they have 250 victims to pick from. Now they're catfishing the victim. And then what happens is they'll send those 3 pictures and videos, and the common denominator amongst almost every sextortion case comes this: you owe me 1 pic. When someone sends to you, you owe me 1 pic, you are about to be a victim of sextortion. So I asked that question in my schools, middle school, high school. How many of you guys in the past year have received, you owe me 1 pic? I'll get 30 kids raising their hands. It happens everywhere. So I have to give them a tool for that, right? So I said, okay, now when somebody says, you owe me 1 pic, here's what I want you to report back to them. I want you to text back to them, I don't owe you jack, bro. And I get them to, I say, what do you say? I don't know you, Jack. I don't know you. And I get them to chant it, to scream it, to yell it, and they will remember that for the rest of their lives. So my job and the job of my team is to empower students in school never to be victims. When we give them these red flags, they'll never be victimized.
Rich, this has been some great perspective and some tips for parents on how to make sure that they prevent their child from being a victim of cyber crimes like the one we just saw happen actually across the pond. And Britton, thanks so much for your time this afternoon.